To quote Narcotics Anonymous, insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting a different result. And entertainment media of today has not only took that quote to heart, it took it to heart, has made a bone altar to it, and is now sacrificing white goats every solstice. But at the very least, media knows what it's doing, which is why I can grumble about it, but I can't deny its effectiveness. No, the truly insane one here are the fans, who just keep doing the same shit over and over and over again every season with the same results, and then once they get bitter enough, complain about the state of anime industry as if they've seen past the whale of this machine only to uncover that it's controlled by a bunch of naked midgets in clown makeup. But I digress. Akanesasu Shoujo is a 12-episode anime created by Animax for their 12-year anniversary that can be roughly summarized as it's flip-flappers but better. It's an original anime about 5 members of a school radio club trying to go to alternative dimensions and then succeeding in it and then getting to be magical girls against a chthonic force of nature while yelling duplication! The show goes pretty much like this. An introductory episode where we're shown our main cast, then every 2 episodes we're introduced to the unimportant girls and their struggles in life, as well as the set piece whose job is to exist and to provide context for the aforementioned struggles, after which they're granted duplication! And then they use their duplication to smother some poor bastards, after which they go home. Then 2 episodes are for a twist telegraphed miles away, to be honest with you. Spoilers for any virgin children watching, it involves lesbians. And finally, the last 2 episodes are a fucking joke. The end. Though each girl has enough screen time for us to establish at least some form of connection with them, and they actually do have chemistry with each other beyond I just want to get this over with, their token enemy, the Twilight, is basically a faceless thing that operates in mysterious ways, making the battles quite frankly boring because they all end the same way, and that's if they end in a satisfactory manner. Not that it's a bad thing, mind you. Faceless forces of nature can be a fairly entertaining villain if you manage to write them properly, but the worst sin this anime makes in terms of their villain's portrayal is to humanize it, because, you know, what would make a horrible unknown that destroys alternative realities as part of its natural instinct better? Introducing human element to it. Yes, that never backfired spectacularly and made the anime a joke. The reason why I called this like flip-flappers but better is because while it has better written characters and the set pieces aren't as random as they were there, it roughly follows the same formula of girls going into strange places and doing stuff until they stop doing stuff, and therefore falls into the same mistakes. And the ending, I'll be frank, was so disappointing that while watching it the first time I honestly didn't know if I'm supposed to feel bored or insulted. The bad guys of the unimportant girls were defeated by them basically saying no in a stern manner, and then the last episode is just our main protagonist Asuka and her Twilight clone talking about her missing brother for 15 to 12 minutes. And I'm not saying that it should have ended in some sort of epic battle, but do you honestly expect the audience to give a shit about a character they basically had no interaction with until this very moment? Do you know how many times we've seen this missing brother of hers outside of flashbacks? 12 times! All of them in the opening sequence. Stunning character development, prime Hollywood material even. And the saddest part about it is this wasn't really that necessary. If you've ended the show right after Asuka went into the Twilight, it would be a cliffhanger, sure, but better than what we've got. It genuinely feels like the studio had plans for a much better ending or even a longer series, but they ran out of money and with it desire to even pretend to give a shit. That or it's a tie-in anime to some sort of... well, of course it is. That explains it. What's with these original projects and mobile games? Can't you at least make a Flash game for PC or something instead of trying to compete in a market dominated by weapon girls and shit? Word of advice, next time you're planning to make a tie-in game with your anime, at the very least finish it properly. But, well, I guess my advice came a wee bit too late, ain't it? The graphics are pretty decent, though the battle scenes are a mixed bag, as they're made in 3D while the rest of it is in 2D. The transitions are actually pretty skillful, and it honestly isn't as bad as it sounds, but people who don't like 3D in any way may find it disappointing, so be warned. The music is not bad either. The battle music is fairly energetic, if a bit gamey, and I'll probably even download some to listen in the future, but don't expect any originality. It's a fairly plain Japanese action soundtrack. And that's pretty much the best way to summarize this anime. It's well crafted, but painfully plain, and the ending feels castrated. Admittedly, I would take a mediocre anime that knows what it's doing over a mediocre anime that's also pretentious any time of the day, but I am a mask. I am actually not that hard to please. Other people might not be so forgiving, especially in such a busy season. Unless you're porn, then you're basically Jesus.